Hi, I'm Sandra.
Oh yeah, and I'm Cooper. You gotta tap me each time?
Yeah, of course. And we are from Net Cyber Solutions and Tech Talk.
We'd like to introduce today the Intel 7th generation NUC, and we're going to do a comparison between a 5th generation, i.e. the older generation, and the current generation, the 7th generation. We'll go over a build out of each, showing you internal differences and external differences on each machine. As a side note, we'd like Intel, if you're watching, to take note of something. This is an older 4th gen box. We really like this box much better. This box had a really cool feature. I don't know if you've ever seen this or not, people, but here it is. See, that's cool, Intel. Bring that back.
Yes, please
watch
bring
Intel,
that back.
Watch, here we go. See, that's what we need.
Very cool.
Alright, so what we have here today is our NUC older style 5th generation. For those playing at home, this is a NUC 5 i5 RYH, which means it's the high, which means it can take both an M2 style drive and a M2 style drive, and also a standard either SSD or hard drive. This is the newer 7th generation, in this case an i3. Again, this is the height. Actual model number for those playing at home, I don't know where it, oh there we go. This one would be the NUC 7th generation i3 BNH, again the high, meaning it can take both the M2 style drive, the regular SSD, or a spinning drive, in this case a 1 terabyte Seagate.
Now, would it also be worth mentioning that they do have the slim version of this particular model?
Both. They have slim versions of both models. The slim versions will only take the M2 style drive. They will not take your standard 2.5-inch laptop SATA drive. So anyhow, let's go ahead and open these up. I forgot my blade, so we'll try it without. Look not so professional. This is not really an unboxing per se, because, well, we don't like them. So first off,
You can start giving me things.
Notice no jingle. Intel, are you listening? The jingle couldn't have cost that much, and it was cool. So, the first thing you'll notice is that the old style had a black top. You can 3D print these, by the way. They give you the plans on their page if you have a 3D printer and want to do something interesting or make some other switches, buttons, or mounts. And you have a silver aluminum bezel on the outside. You'll also notice that the power button is on the top. That's probably one of the biggest changes from the old to the new. On the new one, they put the power button on the front, obviously the darker gray aluminum, which I quite like.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, your ports are very, very similar here. Notice that you have your power, still the 19-volt power adapter. I'll show you that in a moment. You have your HDMI. This one has a mini HDMI. That's a problem. We didn't order a mini HDMI cable. You have your SSD or USB-C connector here. Your USB 3.0 high speed. Your gigabit Ethernet. HDMI, which I already mentioned. This is your vent on both, so that's very similar, with the exception of, you notice this has no USB-C, but it does have DisplayPort. Your USB 3.0s, gigabit again. Your Kingston style lock, I'm pretty sure this one has one also.
It has it on the other side. If you flip it over this side.
Oh,
it's right there.
There's your Kingston style lock on this one. Apparently we have a small SD card on the i3. I know they used to do that on the Celerons also. This one does not have that. USB 3.0 again, and this is again USB 3.0, but with the higher charge rate for the machines. They both have the higher charge rate. Headphone on the front, headphone on the front. If you use a tip ring sleeve, you could have a headphone and microphone. Very similar to what's on your Apple style headphones. Wow, Cassie, I guess I'll be doing a complete voiceover since you're here. So let me move the box. Let me go over the contents of the boxes a little better.
I don't think we'll have to do a voiceover. People are used to cats.
Okay, so they tell you that it's approved for the SSD. You have the instructions themselves. Probably some sort of safety thing, being that they put it in orange. Intel NUC attention, okay. M2, SODIMMs, yeah, okay. Doesn't include any of that. Great. You've got an they have an approved list, by the way. Just this is actually kind of important. So I know I like to blow off a lot of the things, but here is their approved list for M2 drives on the 5th generation. I think it's very similar for the M2s on the newer generation. These are their approved. Let's see, did we make the approved? Crucial. They do not list our particular one, but they list crucial, and I'm sure it's close enough. On the memory, I know they have an approved list also. We'll go over what memory we have here in a little bit. But that's their safeties. I have run into problems with the earlier ones where if you did not use the exact particular things that they warned you of, wouldn't it have been smarter to put the warning on the outside for attention instead of on the inside? No, just note, you know. The instruction book that shows you all the breakdown. They actually do a very good job of the instructions. If you've never assembled one of these and you looked at these instructions, this is IKEA classic here. They just need the little fat guy. Basically, you just put your RAM in, you put your SD. We're going to go over all these, and you put your machine back together. It's really straightforward. And they did it in pictogram. They gave you the breakdown of where everything is on the device itself. I'll try to put a scan of this in the actual video if I can. Intel may not like it, but oh well. Okay, management methods. Okay, oh, Intel bought McAfee, so now they give you this McAfee special offer. It's garbage, don't bother. Okay, they give you a sticker. Everybody likes stickers. We have the Intel Core i5 sticker. This is the mounting plate. We actually do use these quite a bit because we use these in machines and in places where they're generally going to run headless. So we've found that we've mounted them upside down, to walls, to mounting brackets, and so forth. Here's the screws you need to mount this to a VisiMount. It can be mounted to the back of the monitor. The VisiMount screws are here, and the mounts you use to actually lock it to this. Last, we have the power adapter itself. Let me open one of these so you can see it. Windows wants updates. How shocking. So, what they include in here is the power brick itself. The power brick does not come with a plug on it. You have to put one of the plugs that are provided on it. So they have Australian, UK, probably, I think this is, oh, EU, and India? Don't know, never been there. And of course, good old-fashioned 100-volt USA, which by the way was very similar to what they used in Hong Kong. Okay, so anyhow, you take it and you basically just slide it on there, locks in place. You now have your 19-volt power supply, plenty of wire, and a USB to, or and a Velcro to tape that up to get all the excess out of the way. So that's the box, the contents of the box, and the power supply. For the 5th gen,
Pretty sure the 7th gen.
yeah, the 7th is very similar. They just, you know, some promotional items here talking about the different machines that exist, and they are actually very fast. This happens to be an i3 again for those playing at home. Same type of pictogram. There is some differences, like I said, on the front, the way the power and so forth is. But the biggest difference is what memory these use and the processor. Safety information. Oh, wait, that's very important. Not. Okay. And regulatory information. Yes, very important. Oh, but we do have the newer style sticker. Very important. And of course, the McAfee promos. Okay, again, same type of mounting plate. Same screws again. We have a standoff. We're going to need that. So we're going to set that out here. And of course, the same type of power brick with the power adapter. So we're not going to go over those again because they're the same between the old and the new generation. Okay, so now let's go over what we have to go in these first, and then I'll open them up. Like I said, on the older generation, they use DDR3L, low voltage. So for the older style, this one, the silver, easy to remember, you need the DDR3L, low voltage, important, 1.35 volts. Okay, and we have for it going into it an SSD drive. In this case, it is an SSD M2. For those playing at home, there's your model number. Okay, so that's going in there. For the, that's the i5. For the newer style i3, in this case, does require that you have DDR4. You have to have the faster RAM for this one. Again, it is the L. Well, they don't have an L on here, but it is the lower voltage. I think all of your DDR4 works at the lower voltage. Again, I'm doing a voiceover, so it's not going to matter what my details are. I can look those up as I go. In this particular case, the i5 for us is also going to get the Seagate spinning drive. I really meant to bring my blade in here. I'm upset with myself for not having it. No, don't worry about it. I'm done now. So this one is also going to get the Seagate spinning drive. So it's going to get both.
Now
This one is only going to get, hold on one second, this is only going to get the M2. But just so you know, you could use, if you didn't have one of those or you were repurposing, you want to go to something smaller, you could put this in the location of this, and you can boot from this. You can boot from this. I could boot from any of these. I cannot put this and this in one machine. It's one or the other. So we're going to put this here, so I will show you, but it's not actually going in this device. Okay, so.
It's worth mentioning what the purpose of these machines are going to be and your reasoning for putting a spinning drive into the older generation.
Yes, in this case, this particular drive is getting the 1 terabyte for mass storage. It's going to be a file server at a location. They're going to have about 7 to 8 users on it. So that's why it's getting more RAM, a fast SSD, but bulk storage overall. So let's open this up so you can see what's going on. You are still recording. Okay, and I had a screwdriver here. These are the tools you'll typically need for this job, a regular size screwdriver and a small size. You need the small size to install the SSD and possibly the spinning drive. Again, my talking about this is really just basically a placeholder more than the actual language. These are captive screws. They don't come all the way out. You just basically spin them loose. Make sure they lift up. Once they lift up, you basically lift the drive and move it to the side. Now, you could disconnect this if you needed to move the drive completely away. In our case, we don't. I'm going to take a moment here to open the other one up because there is something different I'd like to show you about the other one. So here is that. No, I don't need it, so they're all open now.
For this.
So here's the, I should just be able to pop them open, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay, so on the newer 7th generation, according to the statistics, you can put the 9mm drive in here, not just the 7mm. That, to me, is important because that means you could run a 3 or 4 terabyte laptop drive in one of these. I don't like how the boots stay on this. That's weird. Look how the boots stay down on this. Interesting that the boots stay down, captive nut, but the boot stays down. Here, the boot moves. One thing that's different. Also, not permanently attached. You can move this completely away. Now, the point to note here is they gave you the tray like this. Notice the size difference between here and here. This is a 9mm, this is a 7mm. So you can run the larger SSDs in this type. So that was one of the things to show you there. Okay, so I'm going to set this one aside for now. And we're going to go ahead and build out the older 5th generation, which in this case again was getting the spinning, the SSD, and so forth. So very straightforward. Yes, I'm supposed to have the static strap on, but you know, nah, Florida, don't really need it. So let's open that. Pretty straightforward. You basically take the drive like so. In this case, they've already put the mount in here on it, where the other one, the mount is loose. Back this screw right here out. Reach in there. Notice the Wi-Fi card is already on here. It's a micro. I'll show that to you later. It looks like a regular. It's tiny. You just basically put this stick of gum in here like so at about a 45-degree angle or so. Walk it down. Get your screw that you just took out. Put it back on your screwdriver. And screw it down. Don't kill it. Just light torque. Done. Next we need to install the RAM. Again, just pop them out. Don't really touch the contacts too much. Slide it in place with the keyway about a 45-degree angle. Make sure it's well seated. Walk it down. Done. Both of these will hold 2 sticks of RAM. Again, walk it down, 45-degree angle. Done. Okay, and again, now in this case, this one is getting the spinning drive. Now something I noticed, they don't include screws, and there are no screws. This is a screwless mount. So basically you look down in here, I don't know if the camera's going to get that, so I'm going to move it a little bit, and you can see the SATA connector. You want to line that up with your SATA connector on here. Take the drive, got to get it in there straight, so you don't look like a bumbling idiot. Walk the drive and holding the drive down. Push it till it seats all the way home. These little buttons here are what hold it in. You can put small screws in it if you want to secure it. I will put at least one in there in just a little bit. And for the most part, that is your build. You basically button this back up, power it up, and install your OS. That is your older generation done. Your new one, very, very similar. It comes with an additional screw here in case you're going to one of the shorter styles. I guess they make it so you don't remove it. In our case, it's going to be the longer. We don't need it. It's very interesting the way that label is there. It looks like it's almost for a dual, but it's not. It's a single. Okay, so we'll start again with our M2 SSD. This one's not getting a spinning, but I will show you how that works. Huh, phone's ringing again. Who knew? So
That's actually the watch.
okay, so you screw out. Annoying, it's AF. So anyhow, and then put your, hopefully that's showing on the camera, you slide it in to the actual M2 socket right down in here. One of these just beeped. I wonder if we're running out of battery charge. Seat it home. Don't lose your screw. Oh, that one's recording. So all that I just did probably didn't end up on camera. So let's back this up a little bit since that one's still recording. Okay, put your drive, as you would cut and edit accordingly, like so. Move it down just slightly. Screw on your screwdriver right here. Tighten it up, just firm, don't kill it, just a little, and that's it. Done. Your RAM, pop them out. Keyway here. Match it to the keyway right here. In at a 45-degree angle like so. Make sure it's all the way home. Note that they say right here 1.2 volt DDR4. Okay, so that's not clear. 1.2 volt DDR4. Very important. Granted, the others won't even fit. If you try to stick a DDR3 in it, it won't fit. I'll prove it to you, since, you know, that's what these videos are all about, is to see exactly what people are talking about. Notice your keyway DDR3, DDR4. This one does not match at all. Keyway, won't work. I guess if you're a brute, you could jam it in there, but that's not going to happen. So you put it in like so, walk it so that all the trim is all the way in, push it down. Done. That's all there is to it. If you're using more force than that, you've done it wrong. Okay, so that's that. This one is not getting a drive here, but just to show you, did you already cut this?
Mm-hmm.
Don't cut
So
yourself.
now it's your turn to make fun of me, huh?
Yes.
Because I tapped you
Look at this
to
one.
introduce yourself?
Look at this.
Well, you know, you're in a rush.
A hack. You need to edit all that off.
Says the one using the screwdriver.
Yeah, well, it's because the one using the knife ain't real smart. So this is your standard SSD. If you were not using this, or you could use them in if you just want a lot of storage cheap or you happen to have one, you can put this in. Connector on this, notice, is on the top. Yeah, I'm new here. You notice the connector's on the top, not on the bottom. So you ride just like so. Putting your finger over here to hold it up in place. Slide it so it lines up. Push it home. You should put screws here. This drive's not staying in this machine, so I'm not going to do that. That was just for demonstration purposes only. Alright, so I don't actually know which way this one goes in here. I think it goes like so. Yep, there's a keyway here, so you can only put the tray in one way. Put your trays all the way down. Take your NUC, front, it says front, to the front. Rubber footed. You don't need to over tighten them, otherwise the foot will go like this. Alright, I did want to show you one last thing related to the mounting kit, and that would be these screws. These cap-headed T-bolts here are the ones we're going to want, so let's set those aside. These others, these would be used to mount your hard drive, your spinning hard drive in the chassis itself. These four are used to mount it to the back of a monitor in the VisiMount. Oh, let's see, so we need that, that's great. So these would go here or here to mount it to the back of anything using a VisiMount. Okay, we're not doing that, so those go aside. What we care about in our particular mount are these, because it's going to a server board next to a rack cabinet. So you put those in place, like so. Mounting bracket would go on your wall, and then your unit just goes like so. See, they fit through the holes here, here, and here. And then will run screws through this onto the board itself.
Well, that's
cable.
the one that's going to be for the kiosk. This is the server
this
one.
one's going to mount upside down like this. Or if you want it on a desktop and you don't want it to walk around, it could be like so. But that's how that mount works. It has a ring around the front. I thought that outer light lit up also.
I thought so too. It did
Yeah,
seem
look
like.
into that.
Oh,
Nope,
there we
it goes.
go.
It's disk access. So power. And the outer ring here is for disk access. This is when it's accessing the disk.
Pretty nice. I like that.
Yeah, nifty. So this one, disk is here. This one, power is here. Disk access is here.
I definitely like the new model.
Do you? I don't know if I want it. We're glowing under my desk that way.
I
haven't
actually
figured
like
it
it
out,
very much.
But give it a second. There it goes. Here's your disk access light. No lights on the front.
Hmm.
All right.
Boring.
Kill
No
it.
lights on the front.
That concludes our video.